Take a breath.
Wake up each morning with Illinois in Focus Daily here with the Center Square, and shout out to J Deer 48401. He's the first one in the chat room to say good morning, all, and I guess I'll be the second one to say good morning. It is the Center Square. I'm Greg Bishop, editor at Illinois for the Center Square, host of Illinois in Focus Daily, and we've got big things coming here for you from the Center Square. So be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell here on YouTube, but also find us on all social media, X, Instagram, Facebook. Just search The Center Square, and you'll be able to connect with us and get all those updates. Plus, you can get the headlines in your inbox by going to thecentersquare.com. Click newsletter, and then you'll get those headlines in your inbox each morning. It's not just what's going on across the country. Obviously, we've got a lot going on in Illinois. All right, so go check that out with the Center Square. But you can get it right here, streaming to you each and every day. All right, we got several things we got to tackle here in the 30 minutes we've got together. One being a state representative who is raising a red flag about state tax dollars going to a group that he says is impeding immigration enforcement in the state of Illinois. So the allegation is your tax dollars going to this group that a Republican says is impeding federal law enforcement. But we also got to talk about the latest back and forth between President Donald Trump and Governor J.B. Pritzker when it comes to crime, federal funding, and Governor Pritzker sounding off on the Bears again, and what's going to happen with the pro football team and the possible move they could make to either Arlington Heights or Indiana. So we got that coming here for you with the Center Square. Today, the Illinois Senate is back in session. Nothing really substantive yesterday. There was some conversation from a Democrat senator about property taxes. You can find that story soon at the Center Square. But the House comes back next week. You've also got the Illinois Supreme Court with more hearings today. The U.S. Supreme Court has the possibility they're going to release some pretty substantial opinions. One could be on tariffs, and that's after yesterday they heard a case about sports fairness when it comes to men competing in women's sports. So you can find those national headlines at thecentersquare.com. But when we come back, we'll hear what President Donald Trump had to say in regards to Chicago and crime and so much more. It's right here with Illinois in Focus Daily, only with the Center Square.
Had numbers from Chicago where Chicago crime has gone down pretty good. It could go down 100% virtually, but we're fighting with that governor who's so incompetent.
You've seen since the Safety Act was passed, crime rates across the state of Illinois have gone down.
It's Governor J.B. Pritzker and President Donald Trump yesterday talking about crime. And in Chicago, seeing last year's homicide numbers down considerably versus previous years, and it seems everyone's wanting to take credit for that, and it's including President Donald Trump and Governor J.B. Pritzker. It is Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop with you here only with the Center Square. Go to thecentersquare.com, get the newsletter in your inbox, and stay tuned here to YouTube for the very latest from the Center Square. We've got big things coming, all right? So excited to tell you all about that. But let's get into it. President Donald Trump traveled to Detroit yesterday, gave a speech about the economy, and really was a political speech in front of an audience. He toured an auto manufacturing plant. He gaggled with members of the media before getting on the plane and afterwards, and presidents obviously dominating a lot of headlines just with as much as he's in front of media. But, in the spray or so, whatever they call that, the pool of reporters that are there as the president's getting ready to get on the helicopter to get to the airplane to then fly to Detroit, the president stopped and took some questions, and he just started talking about crime in Chicago.
We just had numbers from Chicago where Chicago crime has gone down pretty good. It could go down 100% virtually, but we're fighting with that governor who's so incompetent. But as you know, we took out a lot of killers, murderers, drug dealers, drug addicts, mental institution people, and people from jails. We took them out of Chicago. So Chicago's got much better numbers now than it had a few months ago. We will get no credit for it, but these are minor details.
That's, again, the president seeming to talk about the immigration enforcement activities. And in Illinois, you've got multiple lawsuits challenging from both sides, going after each other about the state's migrant sanctuary status. Of course, this week we had the lawsuit that the Illinois Attorney General in Chicago announced, suing the Trump administration for tactics of public safety around immigration enforcement. Governor J.B. Pritzker yesterday at an unrelated event in Bloomington Normal, he was asked about crime and public safety and the Safety Act, the act that brought about the end of cash bail. And Pritzker says it's that effort that's actually led to less crime.
You've seen since the Safety Act was passed, crime rates across the state of Illinois have gone down. And indeed, we've done a much better job in the state of justly holding people who are violent criminals in jail, and you see judges and prosecutors doing that across the state, and not forcing people who can't afford bail and have not committed a serious crime to sit in jail awaiting trial. That's inappropriate. By the way, we have virtually the same percentage of people showing up for trial under the Safety Act that we did before the Safety Act. So it is effective at keeping violent criminals in jail and letting those who are not violent criminals await trial, not serving in jail.
Republicans will point to non-citizens who are criminal defendants being let out of jail pending trial, and local authorities not able to communicate with immigration authorities that they have a non-citizen in their custody, come get them. And that's led to increased enforcement efforts on the streets. Now, it wasn't the only thing that we saw a little bit of contrast between President Donald Trump and Governor J.B. Pritzker. The governor also talked about federal funding for the state of Illinois and the ongoing legal battles around that issue. Here's Governor Pritzker from yesterday.
The federal government tried to take away our child care money that they usually send to the state of Illinois that helps working families and helps people go to work every day. And we've beaten them in court, at least in a temporary restraining order. We've got a win in a full case. But, that's an example of the uncertainty that we face. And who did they pick to take the money away from? 5 blue states with blue governors, Democratic governors, because frankly, Donald Trump has a political vendetta and doesn't like his opponents, and so wants to take money away from states that don't agree with his policies.
And the president actually yesterday announced that they're going to withhold federal funding from all migrant sanctuary states. And what exactly those dollars are that's going to be withheld, other than, say, the welfare money, or there's been attempts to try to withhold law enforcement grants for Illinois. Even in the first Trump administration, he attempted that. And we'll see how this plays out. Obviously, a lot more litigation is going to happen from all of this. But the president yesterday, during his speech in Detroit, targeted governors and said that he's going to shore up the U.S. budget by punishing states that are not complying with federal law.
If we get rid of fraud and do our job properly on the trillions that are being extorted out of our country from corrupt and incompetent governors like Gavin Newsom, J.B. Pritzker, and Tim Walz, we will very soon have a balanced budget, and that's the kind of money that we're talking about. We're talking about massive amounts of money. Our country wasn't built by people who tried to lie and cheat and scam their way to success. It was built by legends like Henry Ford, Henry Dow, Thomas Edison, the Kellogg brothers, Alfred P. Sloan, the founder of General Motors, men who lifted up American workers and strengthened our nation beyond even belief.
So the president talking about the governors from New York, California, and Illinois, naming them, and he has done so time and again. And the president obviously is going to be making more news for the rest of the week and for the rest of his term, especially in an election year where you've got a lot of political posturing that we're going to be sorting through here with the Center Square. Go to thecentersquare.com, get the latest headlines in your inbox by signing up for the newsletter today. This is Illinois in Focus Daily, only with the Center Square. One thing I did want to touch base on just briefly here, as the state legislature is back in session, there's a lot of talk about what's going to happen with the Chicago Bears, and Governor J.B. Pritzker yesterday at an unrelated event, he did talk about the Bears and his philosophy on how to work with them.
I've always said that building a stadium is, from my perspective, about doing what's best for the taxpayers. This is a private business. We help private businesses all the time in the state, and I want to help if it's with infrastructure, as we do with other private businesses. That's absolutely a way we could do that. But as I've said, and the Bears have heard this, that we're not going to build a stadium for the Chicago Bears. But again, they're a private business. We have offered to do a number of things, still talking, as we always do with the Bears, about how best to meet their needs. But I want what's best for the taxpayers in the end, and we're going to make sure that we do the best that we can for the Bears, but most of all, that we're not wasting taxpayer money.
How's this going to look at the State House? Not too sure, because Pritzker says that it could actually be more of a local issue in attracting the Bears.
The infrastructure needs that the Bears are identifying as their needs are actually needs of the area around Arlington Heights. That those were projects that we were going to build at one point or another in the Rebuild Illinois capital plan. And so some of what people are identifying as the Bears' needs, the Bears are identifying as their needs, are actually needs that would exist whether the Bears went to Arlington Heights or not. So I think that gives me some optimism that really there is a package that could be put together that would help with infrastructure. It also requires, though, that local governments understand that when businesses are thinking about moving to their area, that they expect to be able to do something about property taxes for some period of time. That's not something the state controls. That is something that local governments control. And so I would hope that those discussions have been ongoing by the Bears with local government.
Now, the property tax issue, obviously a big one. A lot of people concerned about that in Illinois, as we have the highest property taxes in the country. But go to thecentersquare.com, where you can see this headline from Jim Talamonte, and you can find some of the criticism of this whole conversation coming from former state representative Mark Batnick. He said Indiana officials could use their state's tax structure to attract the Bears. He said, quote, they may be able to work with something that's closer to their regular tax structure and not necessarily give away the store like they did in Kansas City to lure the Bears across state lines. Obviously, you've got this happening across the country where taxpayers are being asked to handle incentives for professional sports teams that are in private business, and how that's going to play out this legislative session for Illinois. We will be watching closely. Again, go to thecentersquare.com to get the latest on that and more. It is Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and wake up with us only with the Center Square.
This is the tip of the iceberg. We had a press conference last year where we laid out multiple NGOs to the tune of $1 billion where monies are being funneled to non-governmental organizations, tax dollars. So this is the tip of the iceberg. We'll continue to dig in this, find out what more examples we can dig up on this particular issue. But I wanted to bring this to light because this is just one NGO. This is just one issue, but it's a situation where Illinois taxpayers are paying for federal law to be usurped here in the state of Illinois and to impede federal law enforcement. So it's something that we need to talk about.
It's Republican State Representative Adam Niemerg. Chatted with him yesterday about his concerns of a non-government organization getting tax dollars to impede federal law enforcement. The organization he is talking about is Centro de Trabajadores Unidos, and he says that they're getting more than $1 million of your tax dollars and doing things that aren't above board when it comes to federal immigration law. And even, he alleges, going towards impeding federal immigration law. I'm Greg Bishop. I am editor of the Center Square, Illinois. Go to Illinois' page and you'll be able to stay up on these and other issues and just get headlines in your inbox from all of the Center Square. Go to the newsletter portion and you can sign up there. So chatted with State Representative Adam Niemerg, Republican from Diedrich, and he talked about this organization that he says is getting tax dollars from you, the state taxpayer.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. So it's to the amount of $1.18 million we've uncovered. This is just another example of a NGO that has zero accountability and is just run amok outside the parameters of state government. And we have a governor and a speaker who are funding an NGO with a mission statement to impede ICE investigations and get in the way of federal law enforcement. They have an active group funded by this $1.18 million from taxpayers of the state of Illinois to impede ICE detainees, to impede cases, and also to impede ICE federal authorities while they are doing their job. So it's a very terrible situation we find ourselves in. And here we go. We see another NGO, another non-governmental organization funded by the taxpayers of the state of Illinois for a political ideological purpose. And furthermore, this violates federal law. So we need a full First off, this needs to stop. Then we need a full investigation of why these monies are being allocated to an organization that is impeding federal law. And then we need President Donald Trump to hold some federal funding coming to the state of Illinois and find out what exactly is going on here. And then we need Pam Bondi to conduct a full investigation on why the state of Illinois is blocking federal law and federal immigration authorities.
So let's go check the comptroller's checkbook, and you can do this yourself. Go to the comptroller's website, openbook.illinoiscomptroller.gov, and you'll be able to find this. And if you type in really any organization you want to see how much money they're getting from you, the taxpayer, you can type that in. So we've got Centro de Trabajadores Unidos. You search that, contracts, and it'll pop up. After a bit here of doing all the beep bop boop bop beep bop, and we've got, well, here we go. For several
here's
years,
the actual
they've been getting your tax dollars. So in 2015, they got $500,000 from the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. 2023, they got $1 million from DCEO. In 2024, they got 128,000, I should say, dollars. Commerce and Economic Opportunity gave them $250,000 in 2024 also, and in 2024, another grant for more than $500,000. In 2025, you can see those numbers all adding up. So a lot of money there. And Niemerg says it's 1.8 some odd million dollars. What exactly is it this group is doing that Niemerg says is inappropriate, especially when they get state tax dollars? He lays that out.
Well, here's the actual. We can go to their website and you can see this. They have a group, the Southeast Rapid Response Team. It exists to confront the ICE raids and detention and deportation cases affecting our communities. Essentially, they're mobilizing political activists that we've seen all over the country, most recently in Minneapolis, to get in the way of federal law enforcement. So if there is an ICE raid happening in Chicago and there's folks there impeding that investigation, being arrested by immigrations and customs enforcements, this organization is mobilizing those individuals. Then furthermore, they have a Facebook group, which activates those individuals, gives them talking points, gives them the information they need to combat federal law. It's a situation where we have taxpayers from Illinois paying for an organization that is actively impeding federal law, and they have a mission statement to do just that. Furthermore, another mission statement they have is to root out capitalism in this country, to root out capitalism and to combat climate change and global warming. If this isn't a political ideology that's being funded by the Illinois taxpayers, I don't know what is. Federal immigration authorities are under attack constantly and daily. ICE is under attack daily. And now we have Illinois taxpayers flipping the bill for that to happen, and it has to stop.
Now, Niemerg, again, calling for investigations, calling for federal funds to be withheld, and you heard President Donald Trump in the last segment say this.
If we get rid of fraud and do our job properly on the trillions that are being extorted out of our country from corrupt and incompetent governors like Gavin Newsom, J.B. Pritzker, and Tim Walz, we will very soon have a balanced budget, and that's the kind of money that we're talking about. We're talking about massive amounts of money.
So Trump announcing yesterday he's looking to withhold federal funding from all sanctuary jurisdictions. What that's going to look like, we'll be watching. But in Illinois, Niemerg's watching this very closely, and he says it's just the tip of the iceberg.
This is the tip of the iceberg. We had a press conference last year where we laid out multiple NGOs to the tune of $1 billion where monies are being funneled to non-governmental organizations, tax dollars. So this is a tip of the iceberg. We'll continue to dig in this, find out what more examples we can dig up on this particular issue. But I wanted to bring this to light because this is just one NGO. This is just one issue. But it's a situation where Illinois taxpayers are paying for federal law to be usurped here in the state of Illinois and to impede federal law enforcement. So it's something that we need to talk about.
Now, Niemerg is a Republican in the super minority at the State House, and I asked him yesterday when we chatted last night, will Democrats see this as a problem? What does he think about his colleagues? Can he get them to see this as an issue, or does he think that they're going to turn a blind eye here?
Oh, they're going to look the other way. We've spent close to $3.4 billion on illegal immigration in the state of Illinois already. I don't think the Illinois Democrats care about federal law. I don't think they care about the people of this state. They obviously don't care about the pocketbooks of the taxpayers here in the state of Illinois. So I assume they're going to look the other way. But much like what's happening in Minnesota with Tim Walz and the fraud scandal up there, it's up to us to find these NGOs, root out corruption and fraud at all levels, make things like this go national to bring the spotlight on Illinois to fix this state.
What that spotlight will look like, we'll be seeing and watching and tracking and reporting out to you at thecentersquare.com. Niemerg also talks about just the need for more scrutiny on all of this, and in particular how he says this group, if they're encouraging and organizing people to monitor ICE activities and encouraging them to impede in some way, that they're being put in harm's way.
Absolutely. 100% putting them in harm's way. Anytime you mobilize radical political activists such as these organizations do, and we've seen this all over the country, especially what we've seen in Minneapolis, if we see these organizations putting these people in harm's way, impeding federal law enforcement, bad things happen. We don't want any more loss of life. We don't want that to happen. But when you impede, when you try to hurt a federal immigration authority, these things can go south very, very fast, and we don't want anybody to get hurt. But yes, they're absolutely putting them in harm's way. When you mobilize organizations, when you mobilize people like this, when you put the hate in somebody's heart, these things go south very fast.
And all of this, obviously, after the police-involved shooting in Minnesota of a woman that was blocking ICE traffic and seemed to drive into an ICE officer who opened defensive shots, according to DHS, striking and killing the woman. Obviously, ICE activities drawing a lot of emotional response. And on the other side, you've got a lot of criticism as to the funding and how tax dollars are being used. Niemerg's not the only one that's raised these issues. Republican gubernatorial candidate Ted Dabrowski, who's in the primary March 17th with 3 other Republicans vying for the party's nomination, he held a news conference earlier this month and talked about the tax dollars that are going to various nonprofits.
We have groups doing that here in Illinois, and there's been great work done by Breakthrough Ideas here in Illinois. One of the examples is Trabajadores Unidos, which is United Workers. It's an NGO. It gets millions of dollars from the federal government and the state. And yet that group, I want to read to you what that group is dedicated to, and it's on their website. I read it myself. And it's amazing that we allow our government to fund these things. So Trabajadores Unidos, it's a subgroup of the community. A subgroup exists to confront the ICE raids and detention and deportation cases affecting our communities. That's one. It also works to dismantle the systems and institutions based on capitalism, white supremacy, patriarchy, and climate change that exploit and oppress our community. These are highly political statements on the website, and they're getting federal and state money for that, millions of dollars. And we're seeing that there's lots of NGOs that get that kind of money. So we really need to look at how the government is spending our money.
And we'll report it out to you more and more here with The Center Square. Get the latest at thecentersquare.com. The newsletter available for free. We are a free news wire service to keep you, the taxpayer, up to date of how government's impacting you. So get those headlines at thecentersquare.com. All right, so I got for you on this Wednesday. I can't believe it's only Wednesday. Be with us tomorrow. We'll bring you more here with Illinois in Focus Daily, only with The Center Square. I'm Greg Bishop, editor of Illinois at The Center Square. We've got a great team, and it continues to grow. We've got big things coming for you here at thecentersquare.com with the YouTube channel. Find us on all social media channels as well, X, Facebook, Instagram. You're on YouTube, obviously. And we'll keep you posted, all right? Have a great Wednesday. We'll see you back here tomorrow with more Illinois in Focus Daily, only with The Center Square.